Begin. On the 12th, I'm still missing here a few signatures from George, namely. Shall we begin? Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. To the people who are here, thank you for being here, for listening to my contribution as a trainer. Good afternoon to people who are abroad in other places in Europe. Although apparently Europe still has a few contact points. Today we're going to begin with what we said we were going to begin with yesterday. We spoke a lot about quality. We need to have an offer of quality, an offer that adds value. And one of the ways for us to demonstrate to our customers that we produce value and add value is to be able to quantify uh, and produce a quality service. That is, having the ability to create elements that become invisible and able to be quantifiable of what are the indicators of quality of logistic services, whether it is a small carrier, a small freight forwarder, or a small port entity or operator. We need to have tangible indicators for concrete matters, such as the matter of freight costs, but we also need indicators for the frequency of malfunction, the traceability of information, the amount, and the unit cost of flight when compared with the time that this flight takes, and create a set of indicators that might bring us to tell the customer that our quality standards, that our practices are quality practices because. And that's why we spoke about establishing a table of quality. Same way we can create indicators saying that an attacker in a football team is a good one. Well, it's the one that scores a lot of goals because it's not enough to score a goal once in a while to be a good player. He has to be able to be where the opportunity to score goals is and try and have an opportunity to score a goal when he has the opportunity to do it. Some of them only score goals with their head, with their right foot, with their left foot in the small area, in the big area, out of the play area. Is he or is he not able to dribble a defense and just is he just able to just shoot and score? So there's lots of indicators to tell us what we are talking about. So is he a player that can only score goals when he plays in his team or in his current team or in his national team? Or can he score goals in different levels of difficulty? So this is a notion that we have to transpose and to understand what is the set of indicators of quality and KPIs as well, and of results that can translate the quality table. When we are evaluated, assessed as students or as trainees, there is a table where we earn points. And what we have to create, and it's one of the challenges and one of the works of this afternoon, it is to create a table. For example, if we had here an interactive Excel, we would want to create a table where we'd be able to put display several criteria on the horizontal point or on the vertical point, and then we'll have answers for these criteria where we can classify them, for example, 80% success rate, 85, it doesn't have to be like that, it's just an example, 100%. We need to have two axes that tell us first the category that we're going to evaluate, and the other that is the success rate or the mistake rate. If the mistake rate is very low, it should appear as well. So number of merchandise to be evaluated, percentage. We can put here 5%, 1%, and we can say where our percentage of merchandise is. Well, if we can follow delivery deadlines, collection deadlines. So here we're going to speak about the level of maturity of the process and try to create structures, and each of you is free to create a structure of a table of classification of our quality. Given that 5 individuals weren't there, they might have a few handicaps in the preparation, and so you may join one of the others and do a group work. And given that you are a group of 5, and there can be a group of 3 and a group of 2 for us not to be here lost. It's a collaborative logistics, so reinforcing collaborative logistics, we can do that. A table that a group of 2 and a group of 3 might develop, do you agree? And then the idea is for you to come here and draw it to see how you worked. Or you can come here to the computer and do it in an Excel sheet that is also visible. Okay, do you accept? You need to do this. I'm a little bit in a disadvantage point with you, so it's going to be 2 groups. One of you or 2 of you is going to have to work with them. So Raj goes with George, so there's an empty chair next to George, so join him and start work. How long do you need? Raj, a little less advantage here. 15 minutes? 15 to 20 minutes. 15, 16, okay. Otherwise, the break will represent 25%. Yesterday, you say you didn't remember this one, but you did. All the deviations, if they are measured in a percentage, much more. Of course you do. Well, you're paying attention. Is that clear for our friends abroad as well? Can you present this, Joanna, please? Basically, we're going to make quality tangible. We're trying to quantify try to touch it as if it were a flower for us to make our little Christmas that is almost here, even though summer is barely over, but I'm already missing winter. I'm missing winter, really. Imagine that you have a line, and you say that that line, when it goes from a point A, Port Leixões, for example, to another point in a North American city, you have to say that your line ensures 80% of efficiency in the delivery deadline, that is of 7 days, for example. And try and see what are the commercial advantages that are there to add value to the customer's decision, because this is going to translate into less time, or in most reliability in the time that was predicted, which have an impact on logistic efficiency and competitiveness. Producing the data internally is worth something, of course. It's always good, but it's not the most important thing. We need to transmit our customers all the data that they need, and also transmit it to customers that we don't have yet. So we all are competitive, and we need to fight not the adversary, but try to offer more advantages to the customer. And the the economy here wins because we all increase the profit, more efficiency, and a better use of the resources.
Who wants to start? Who wants to kick off? Miguel, please. You have to explain here what you want to do, both of you. It's funnier that way. It's a different dynamic. The quality of my drawing is not that special. I don't know if this is right or not, but we have divided our chart in 4 parts, which is service itself, which is the service and quote, first part, please write. First time sale. But then within these criteria, we have different items, which is first, quickness to the request of the client. 99% are by email. And then we need to assess, the quicker we are, we use 0 to 10 minutes and 11 to 20 and up to half an hour. We are supposed to answer within this time. After this, we create from 0 to 10. We'll get there. Keep going. Then we have another item, which is the rate of attribution. You are beginning your career as a singer. And how can we measure that rate, the percentage of consultation times, the adjudication? Okay, we have 90% or 100%, and then we will measure 80% where we have the percentage. Okay, but what's the index? Or do you want to divide it by group? You want to know if we have 80%, 90% of adjudication? Okay. How will you know that? According with the adjudication that we have. So the formula is simple. It's in the period, in the monthly period. For example, the time unit is month, total of requests, and of the adjudication dividing by the total. And this is simpler. I don't know. Okay, we have the rate already. How can we clear as water? This is a challenge for the translator. The speaker is trying for me to find something clean as water. It's a saying, a Portuguese saying. It's a national brand of flour that's in the origin of a lot of healthy babies, very happy. And we say that the merit of this is for the mothers of the wheat flour from the Amparo brand. This equals clean wheat. Amparo flour, it's a fat baby, healthy, and ready to be a great player like Ronaldo and Figo. And basically, that's the explanation from the. I don't know, in Italy, El Grano, which is the special flour in Italy. Do you have a similar sentence in Italy? Okay, we have 2 points here that we want to divide by the total of adjudication times 100. Times 100, and you can put the monthly. And 1 month is happens a lot. And here we need to divide it in 2 points, the rate of adjudication of our clients. Okay, here we need to understand that we will measure not the adjudication, but the second services, the recurring services, and new clients, new services. How will we call this? That's a good rate, a good commercial indicator. How will we measure this? We need to think about this. It's indicator, formula, and the goal. So when we think about the indicator, we need to think that, okay, this is an indicator about how can I calculate it, what is the formula, not by perception, more or less. Recurring services, what's the rate? How can we get there? Total requests, dividing by the number of clients that are a recurrence of the total requests. Dividing number of requests of usual customer clients. Times 100, that's the rate of recurring clients. And for the new client, it's the same thing, but we'll change a reference of new requests for the request of new clients, right? I want to tell you something about this. This is very important when we have the logic of logistics services for freight forwarder, logistic operator, customs broker, and it's not just the regional traffic of the northern area of the Iberian Peninsula. This has to do with all the locations where our network is inserted in. We are addressing rates that here are for the evaluation of our performance, for the globalness of our services, to our scope of our market. Because if there is something that we need to highlight is that more and more Europe is a transit traffic area that's global and with few barriers. So betting in intermodality and in multimodality, we're thinking about the relation and interconnection between river, sea, railway, and road transports that have been having a set of benefits regarding infrastructures, routes, maritime infrastructure, airports, railways, even more communication systems like Galileo, communication systems and management of data that are very fast and robust, shared by different entities, processes of easing the processes of customs, of getting in borders despite terrorism, even if it's the maritime air or railroad or even road access. This name is quite arrogant, but highways of the sea or highways of the railway, because the velocity and reliability of the transport system is a factor of competition. I was speaking with Joanna about something else, but the ones who buy logistic services without a tendency is that that service has no cost. But it does. Let's have an idea here. So sometimes, or almost ever, They are focused in the continuous improvement, and so they are fine-tuning the unit cost for production, and they present a growth of the cost that's very inferior. Sometimes there is a decrease in the price that has not to do with the evolution of production factor that many times the fuel factor in the past, sometimes they go against inflation, because in the last 10 years, at least in Portugal, the transport freight in almost every transport mode except for the aerial one had significant reductions. This is only possible because we were able to be more efficient, less mistakes, less defects, less breakdowns in the circulation processes, more facility in the administration processes, because many times there was no commercial ability to show clients that we cannot go below something. That's why we have a wave, some complaints from a lot of consumers, private and not only private, but logistics of the small freight forwarder, because many times we have been going too far in reducing costs on the chart of the service providers of logistics. And this is even more noticeable when it is of a small dimension. It is crushed even more because they're trying to compete in which scale has no difference, and there is almost automatic answers of communication with the best machines for working within the warehouse, the best vehicles. There is a capacity of crushing what is the fair retribution of the workers of those companies. That simply don't happen. We are speaking about great companies of logistic operation, maritime or on the road. They have the ability of assuring lines in which they are leaders for the time. They are able to answer, to have service by the reliability, because they collect, they package, they do a lot of things that a small operator cannot do. So to highlight this, many times it has happened for the last 10 years, the evolution of the quality of the logistics service measured through tangible data like this and others that we are producing was not accompanied by the recognition of a great part of the economy. Many of our clients that are above the supply chain had not been valuing this because they have had the capacity to negotiate that is not an outcome of an advantage of a failure in the logistics process, but the ability of crushing many agents in building the price. And you know this as better than me. These are bets that these companies probably are making, but live on the immediate process and are not worried about reliability and sustainability. And in the European space, in the community space, these are two important actions. First of all, one that has to do with fighting the emission of gas emissions that are harmful for man and for the planet. So this is a clear determination that all the European Commissions have been reinforcing, and this one is reinforcing also. Hence, all the processes that exist to support the road traffic for maritime and railway. Second point, there is also a concern to fiscalization present and omnipresent in the monitoring of all professional processes, and the tendency that many activities of support and logistics of smaller visibility could work with a conviviality regarding less constant with fiscal perspective, as we know in Portugal and in Spain. So two highlights, two remarks to have this into account. So please, more criteria. Assessing the third item, the answer between the commercial part and the operational, from the adjudication to the action of the service. Okay, that's a good indicator from the commercial area to the operational one. Time of passage, commercial direction. This is more or less like it's happening here. This is the total number of requests in each group. When I put 10 minutes here, the answer the client wants an answer here, so we need to answer them with a contribution as an input. This goes within the observation that we were seeing. It's not to send the quote, it's to tell them that, okay, we are taking care of it, so we need these more elements. It's first contact, it's not a closure of the proposition. Miguel is explaining this, telling that, okay, we are taking care of it. Tomorrow I will send you the proposal. And according with feedback, okay, it's an important data because we want to answer the question. It's the first input that we give. We are taking care of your service. Tomorrow we'll tell you something. It's a good idea. I don't know if you work with it. Okay, 5 minutes. This way, right? Well, one thing is each one of you, but we need to ask if is it us or is it the organization that has this method? Because Vasco, in your company, 30 requests. Do you guarantee that 30 requests have an answer in 10 minutes? Okay, I don't have 30 entries in 10 minutes, I assure you. But 10 requests. In 10 minutes, I assure an answer to the request that is here saying that, okay, I will ask for more information. But that's important because we don't have to have the maturity of the answer time of Vasco or Claudia or Elliot or Miguel. It's time for the organization. It's the maturity of the process and not the maturity of my performance. Some of the operators answer in 10 minutes and there are others that answer the next day, so this can generate a completely different perception in the market. You have two friends in a table that didn't know they were asking for prices, and one of them said those guys are good. They answer us in 10 minutes. Okay, you're mad. It's more than a day to answer, so the perception is completely wrong. And the one that the market will bring is not the positive one because the quickness, circulation of good news, that the quickness of the opinions of the good perform. Okay? When we have the first answer according to the feedback of the client, you can see that the adjudication is urgent or not. Because he will tell us if it's urgent or not. So there is a forwarding, a separation of the logistics here. Then the second great point, which is the logistic part. That's logistics also, but the operational part. What we want to measure is the quickness of the answer by the part that comes from the commercial perspective. And how do we get that answer? After the package of the mail of the service for the operational part, how long do they take to call the client? So contact time. So I'm going to ask you something. Should we measure? I'll give you an example. You have received this part here. Here is 1, 1, 1, 1, 2, 1, 3. And from the 1.3, it goes to 2, right? And what you want to measure is this time here. So this time is at stake. No, it's not this. What you want to see is a 2.1 time, which is a contact with the client, the answer of the operational personnel to the others. This can answer in 30 minutes, but if this takes 1 hour, it's 90 minutes that we will give, okay? So please explain that. I'm just messing with your drawing. This can be to have the collection, the contact with the client. You need to confirm physical data of the goods. So we have this. in our presentation. Please use the microphone. What is the calculus? Okay, this formula here, we have a little problem here. From the time with the part comes from the email of the commercial part, measure that time there. How do we know? The only way is to see the hours of the emails. That's a more effective way. We should have something more, which is an automatic system of having a dashboard that tells you that you have 50 requests for operations that had as an answer the operational contact to the client with a pattern deviation of 30 or 40 minutes, okay? This is the answer time between transmission. Exactly. There's something that we need to have. We need to have the concern of understanding how can we create a formula by indicator. Sometimes they have very important indicators that correspond to something that's very important, but we are not thinking about how do I get measuring here. The other point that we have is validation and issuing of documentation. And here it needs to be measured in time. How much time do we need to validate and issue the document? Okay. We have several points here that sometimes maybe they don't make any sense, but we need to monitor to verify that we receive and make the validation and issuing of documents, and then the goods. Either it follows, or we need to verify the goods according to what we said yesterday, measurements, the weights, if they are okay or not. Okay, but we had a set of criteria. I will leave your contribution here, and I would like to hear the contribution of other group. Do you think this makes sense to you, even? Well, it makes you think, right? Probably you do this in your company, but maybe it's helping us to understand why it is done and why do we need to do even better, but we have to improve. Okay, so thank you. Next group, you.
It's a good sign. It proves you're working well. A lady always composes the area. A lady always improves everything. Claudia may speak. We'll get there anyway. Just don't get hurt. Be careful. We had, well, you're thinking as freighters, are you? Yes, we are. So is this clear? You are thinking as a freight forwarder. But we put this in a very simple way. going to be worth some percentage. Something else that we have to do, create based on the customer that we're not satisfied. We're sorry for not being able to establish a deal, but reinforcing that we are available to continue to present solutions. And given the cause, asking them to tell us which was the reason for not adjudicating the service, and then try to solve the problem to be able to cross one of these problems. But the main idea here is to understand first of all that. Well, but it just had a great comeback, reborn completely, especially to the half final. And then we lost, but not very fairly against Chelsea. Moving on, assuming that we are willing to make a service, we also ask the question of the time to collect the raw material. So the customer asked us to collect the raw material for his production unit. And I'm based here on the principle that it only happens in one local, of course, but it can be also collected in several places, but here it's just in only one. So we can consider half an hour, or 1.5. Well, that's not very important. We have to think about the general aspect here. So we're going to make the total of collections and divide it by the total number of asked collections in a given window. So then we moved on to the last milestone. We move on to the part regarding the distribution to the network of finalized product. Distribution. In the case of distribution, be able to know which is the time we take to load, of course measuring the loading time. These are performance criteria, and the others are internal and external criteria. This is an internal criteria that can help us improve. Well, distribution is not collection, so here we're speaking about the loading time. We also put here the possibility of having or not the need of stalking. How are we going to measure that? More important than measuring the storing need, we could measure the percentage of cargo that is delivered to us and that should be stored. Sometimes we want to know how we can formulate this in an easier way. And the most important thing here is to measure the quantity of cargo that is indeed stored. Then we have to distinguish what is the storage with some duration or what is just temporary. Well, you can speak about cargo that might be stored, and the number of remittances. We have to work with both. Number of remittances that might be stored, the tons that should be stored, and those that might be subject to the gross cubic content, basically. We have to see which are the factors that make the warehouse work generally. Working with remittances guides, or in the Spanish language that would be albarán, remittance guide, tons, and cubic meters. Tons and metric cubes. With these three, we already have enough data. We could complicate it much more and use pallets, but we already have enough factors for us to manage the warehouse. And then we can see which are the remittance guides, the cubic meters, if there's one left, two left, three left. Just here mentioning, for example, the area of cross-docking. If I have lots of goods staring there for 1, 2, or 3 days, I'm just offering storage to my customers, so I'm in the wrong business. Here we have a management indicator to understand that we have to improve the operational process, not to look for another additional warehouse. Is that clear? Here, I'd like to add as well the transit time, the transport time. This is in hours. You can work in 2 ways. We can create a rule that is +1, +2, +3. And here, that would be the first day. D +1, D +2, D +3. Let's not imagine it would be more, of course. We also mentioned the delivery points, the destination points. We're regarding the efficiency in the unloading process. So how are we going to do this? What we want is the medium time for the delivery. Sometimes maybe we have to do like them, unloading in 5 to 10 minutes with several scales. nowadays, with all the geolocalization systems that we are able to apply systems of information control where we can have the several times of parallelization for each customer, and we can have we can make a filter where we have all of our customers that were above the 10 minutes during the month, and find several points that will be loaded, because each time they went there, they stayed for more than 10 minutes, and then we can have a red, yellow, orange, blue, or green marks of the delivery points of our distribution network. This is an interesting factor because generally we invest very little, and this is adding value in the management of the logistic process. We realize that we're going to last a long time. We call the customer and complain, but we do nothing to understand this mapping and try to give this classified information to our client, or try to understand what I can do if I go to the streets and visit these problematic destinations and tell them that I come on behalf of the customers, because we can bring a report saying that during the last month I came several times and took much more time to unload and try to see with them what they can do to improve this factor and take less time. This is something that we should do. This is, for example, how great services at the end of the 90s began to improve the merchandise reception windows. That was very difficult because the conditions were terrible, because there wasn't a delivery window that was systematic, and this has been improving a lot during the last years. Then we have the unloading time at the final destination. Terminology is very important here, because this terminology is going to help us realize the data that we collected, to transform them into information, and that information will generate critical knowledge for the management. So we have to find the data, transform them into information, and then create knowledge that will create some support to make the decisions in a more critical way later. Well, don't go see this customer with a report, but with a revolver if you wait this long to unload. This is the question. If you have to unload 10 pallets, what is the argument that you have not to shoot the customer for taking so long to unload pallets? Well, we are transporting pallets, but in our case that would be containers, so it's much more easier to unload than a pallet. No, it's not. Well, it should be, at least. In theory, it is. But the problem is people who are in the warehouse, who have availability and will to unload the container 2, 3. It might take 4 hours even, and this is one of the main problems that we have. Okay, well, do you want to add something, Elliot? Yes, I can add some. Microphone? I don't know if you believe it's better for you to go to the board. If you think you can use the projector, it might be even easier. Good afternoon, everyone. My vision here was not in a perspective of freight forwarding company or a specific company, because I don't have that background, but I made this in a general perspective. How can we, in a way, look at our company and identify indicators and objectives to improve its management. And I identified here a macro criteria, one of them being management and organizational aspects. So it's important to see and to know internally how we are organized, if we have or if we don't have an organogram, if we have the functions well or poorly defined in the company, because this is a problem that sometimes I see in my customers' companies. And one of the indicators is to know the number of official superiors that we have in our company, if we have people with bachelor's degrees, with master's degrees, or doctorates. So this is an indicator to be able to adapt the company to the different challenges. We also have another indicator that is the number of certifications or what certifications the company already has. If they have the 2001, or if they have any other certification. For example, nowadays it's very frequent and it's very important for people handling this matter of information. That is the information management and the safety of the networks and the information. So it's an important point to reach certain targets. For example, in the military sector of the military supply chain, it's important to know if we are or not certified by NATO and if we can enter this market. Then we also have a third indicator, which is the balance scorecard, which is to know that I have this balance scorecard in my company, whether I have it or not, and in which departments is everything established. That is the strategy that I am implementing known by the whole structure? Are we all working for the same part, the operational, commercial, management part, or no? So this is a point that I'd like to highlight. Then we have the training and career policy. In a company, all of us know the importance of this policy. Do we have this policy? Is it well implemented? Is the information systematized and organized? These points that are here, these points are, from my standpoint, competitiveness factors and door opening factors for this market, because there are lots of customers of ours who ask us these kind of indicators. So we need to be ready for this, whether we are good or not in this perspective. Here I enter the commercial component. This commercial component, I recognize that it was widely approached here by my colleagues, but here I didn't enter into detail. We have the several points here of the CRM. I didn't enter into so much detail, but I highlighted this point because I defend that it's important to implement a CRM in the organization. But now we're going to make a step forward, trying meeting the NRP that allowed the immediate connection between the orders and the production, or the order and the distribution. And in this matter, we can articulate the functioning of the company, but also try and take these indicators that we want, so we can automatically know the numbers of new customers, how many orders are still in process, how many were finished, and the time of the response time that is widely associated nowadays with the new GRCs. And I don't know if you have in your organization, in your company, systems of point control in which we give a given number of hours for each task, and so someone works on this task and has a certain time to do it. It's basically project management. Then we have a service of support to the customer. Do we have the service? Do we have complaints? How many complaints we have and how they were solved? Which are our lessons learned? What we have to do to improve? Then we have a service of invoicing and collection and billing. So we need to see if we have an electronic invoice associated to the GRC. When I'm going to see an invoice, can I see to which request it is associated? What is the customer? See the volume of business Am I selling more to a given segment of the market or to another? The third indicator for me is also essential, and that is the investigation and technological development. Is our company participating in projects of innovation and research? Are we accompanying the trends of the market and the technological evolution? Because this is the threatening point. It can also be an opportunity, of course, but opportunities only exist for the people who are in the boat, because outside this threat, we can say that our companies or our profession can be menaced with extinction. So, do we take part in the project of implementation of systems such as supply management systems, or is our company basically accompanying this evolution? Is it or is it not? Then trying to see the policy of professional internships linked to university. How many interns do we have in our company? Do we open our doors to these interns, in my knowledge? Finally, the social responsibility. Do we or do we not develop dissemination mechanisms and mechanisms that promote good practices? For example, a freight forwarding company, a customs broker is inserted in a port community. If we are able to participate actively in this community through the promotion of good practice policies, we not only win, but the whole region also wins. It's a question of competitiveness of the pole or cluster, or in this case, of the company in which we're working, the port company. Finally, I leave you this challenge that is an idea, that is the implementation of internal or external campaigns based on the fun theory. The fun theory is a strategy that was established, for example, in Stockholm to regularize and to spread good practices in this regarding the speed limit on the road. What happens here is that someone is in his car on the road in Stockholm, and if this person is within the speed limit in this area, his car is photographed not to receive a ticket but to receive an award. What can we do here? I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. Basically here, instead of penalizing because I took too much time loading the truck in the parking lot, I can use mechanisms using, for example, a satellite, where I know that this customer generally respects the deadlines, the loading deadlines that we establish. And so myself, I establish an award, I create some sort of lottery, I create a pool of customers of that day that manage to reach their objectives, and they can receive some sort of award for that. So this is one of the examples of that fun theory. In a way, to summarize, there are other things that have been mentioned here in the operational aspect, for example, accidents and malfunctions. Here, for example, the number of road accidents in terms of transport, it's important to know how many accidents my fleet had, our fleet or the fleet at our service. Regarding the logic of outsource and subcontracting, we need to stop looking just at the multinational and forgetting who works for the multinational. So the number of accidents, the loss for great malfunctions and theft, the warehouse management that was already mentioned, the ability, the capacity that is installed and the capacity of the warehouse. Am I prepared? Do I have to optimize to increase or to decrease my warehouse space? And basically, what is the capacity of the transport versus the number of freight? Do I have to increase, adapt, or reduce? Elio, thank you very much. I'm very satisfied here. I don't know if you noticed, but during the first day, we all had a few difficulty speaking, and on the third day, well, soon enough, I'll be sitting here and you'll be coming here. So this is a very important fact to highlight. That is the increase in the level of participation and the level of trust that we generate among us, and the level of addition and ability to generate inputs that you bring to the program. This is very important, and I have to congratulate you for all of this, and the APDL here in Magellan have to enhance this. Do we have any contributions, Rod? No, not yet. We might have some more lately. Microphone?
I just want to agree on one thing. For me, that's not a quality chart. That's a checklist of the company has or not. Okay, there is a contribution for this maturity analysis. It's not a checklist of what to do. It's a survey for maturity. There are elements there for a quality chart, namely breakdowns. We have that and we do that daily to know what we have and where we can improve and what we do to be able to evolve. But it's not a checklist also. It's a mix. Fortunately, this is dynamic because there are components here that can be exported to a quality chart, rates of accidents, of breakdowns, percentage of satisfaction. Then, as it says, regarding the transport and storage, the five of you already worked a lot of areas. Has to do with the quality policy, certificates, training. This has to do with the level of maturity of the organizations. There are our clients, and the others are checklists that we need to check if they are certified or not. Without intention or following this, we have three management tools: maturity analysis, checklist of actions, and quality charts. So let's stop for a minute, and then 15, 20 minutes maybe for our coffee break, okay? Can you smoke your cigarette, maybe?